This is an apology video to the video I had taken down and deleted last night. That video was uncalled for. I was angry, upset, and I don't let anyone else in here when I should. Well, that's going to change. From now on, that is going to change. No more who did this to that and who did that to the other. No. So that is more important. And it's not a good image on me, because I want to see people who think of me as this great person with great ideas and great things to show and to give. That's one of my personal themes. But lately, I've done some bad things. I'm not proud of them. Not all. So this is an apology video to that. And there is another apology I want to give too. In misinterpreting certain things. Like, for one, schizophrenia is not dangerous. People just don't know how to deal with it. And through that, I have done hurtful things that I've said. And that again, that's not me. So I want to put this straight right here and now. No more of this who did what to who. Because that is not me. What I want people to know is I want people to see and to hear the real me. And so, that real me is a writer of poetry, a writer of stories, which I am doing right now on my computer. I'm also doing some stop motion animation, which I can show you how I actually do my stop motion animation. I mean, I can do it here and now because you can't, see what I have set up. But what I can show you is this. Hold on. Now, what I do for my animations is this. I go for these things. My Warhammer. Now, my Warhammer is exactly what I use for my animations. Now, I'll explain why. But first things first, let's do the concept of stop motion animation. Okay? So, this, I'm just going to pretend that this is my, my actual set, if you will. Okay? Now, right. I have a character. There. Oh, I have a character. There. That is my character. Okay? So, now, of course I can't show you how it's actually, I can't really play the videos on YouTube because it won't let me. But I can do something which is a bit different, which is this. I can, now, here, now. Supposing I want to make this guy move in a stop motion animation, okay? This is how I do it. I move it just a tiny bit, stop, then I press a button on my phone that says take a photo. Okay, then I do another move, and then the same. I move, same, move, same, move, same. That is how you do a stop motion animation. Now, there have been some, different kinds of animation, like clay animation, prop animation, movement in stop motion animation. That is very, very, there are all kinds of different animations. But one in particular animation, which I'm very, very into and learning more about, is, of course, stop motion animation. Ever since Wallace and Gromit, I've always thought about proper animation. And I can show you how another animation is done. Now, for those who are into stop motion animation, that is very, very, it's a talent that stop motion animation does. And that is very, very important, that stop motion animation and things like that. Now for the more serious moment. Those things I said were not me. I was angry, taking out on other people when I shouldn't have been. I just don't think about what I do or how I do it. But now I have on my screen what I'm going to say and what I'm going to do within the videos itself. Because if I do it that way, then I know particularly what I want to do in each video. But there will be a new video about something that is fascinating to me, and that is the new Artemis program. The Artemis program, which is our return to the moon, well, there are some live video images of them moving the Artemis rocket onto the launch pad later on tonight. Live pictures. Well, you will get to see those live pictures on my TV tonight. And I will tell you, as best to my knowledge, what they're doing at that particular time. Okay? And that, I think, would be very interesting for me and for you, I think. So that's, again, a very important thing. But I can tell you what a rocket actually does. Now, a rocket is a bit like, okay, let's imagine that this flask is your rocket, okay? This here is your rocket. And of course it has fuel inside, which is this orange juice here. Okay, well, first things first, there is no top for the actual astronauts to go on to, because this is just the base of the rocket. Okay, what we need is the actual landing and the engine to go with it. So here's that bit here. We have this bit here. We have this bit here, which then is then placed into the rocket. Okay. So now we've got our capsule where the astronauts will go. So, as this thing is placed onto the launch pad, as you can see, there's fuel in the tank. But what's going to happen to the fuel which is not in the tank? Well, that I can show you. Okay. Now imagine that this cup was the actual fuel needed for the actual rocket itself. Okay. So here's what the engineers would do. First, the capsule will be placed on last. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to take off the capsule, make sure there's no fuel in the capsule's tank. That's important. And then we're going to do this. We are going to imagine that inside this cup here is the fuel. So the fuel has to be placed in and filled up. Okay? So they would fill this, they would fuel this down into the tank. Okay? That's what they have to do. Then once that's done, they then place very carefully the actual capsule on top of the actual rocket. They tighten it up, and then let's pretend that this bit here was the actual hatch. They seal the hatch off while the tank is being fueled, because the main tank, which is not this here, the main tank, which is this here, which is this here, would then be fueled right to the very top. Now they would also have two other things called solid rocket boosters. Now let's imagine that these two here, these here were the solid rocket boosters. They'd go onto the top side, like so. See? Now this would be done last. They would place these two solid rocket boosters on the side last. And the astronauts, the hatch would open up. The astronauts would climb inside the actual capsule, sealed then shut. Once sealed, the countdown would then be counted on the actual launch day. Now, first things first, as this here, as your rocket is taking off, first is that your solid rocket boosters will then separate. Okay? They would separate once their fuel is then spent up. And of course they'd fall away. Now the fuel inside here would keep on burning. Keep burning, keep going, keep burning for a long time. And so once that's done, the capsule, which is this here at the top, would then separate. Not the way that I'm doing it, would then separate. Would then separate. Make sure there's no water inside. then separate, and then you'd have this, which is your capsule. Okay, this here, which is your capsule. This is your capsule. Then, once the booster part of the thing is separated, then you have your capsule, which would then go, say, to the moon, or to Mars, or anywhere. But first things first, how do we get to the moon? Well, that is in another video, which I'm happy to explain later on. But that is what I'm going to be doing in the next video, telling you how back in the 1960s they landed their first ever Apollo 11 lunar landing. That I can explain in the next video later on today. So, again, I apologize for what I've done. Again, I apologize for my rudeness, for my stupidity, for breaking promises and breaking all kinds of wrong things. But we're going to move on. More exciting videos yet to come. Okay? Lots of love to you. Bye.